guys?
Great. How are you?
Good, good, good. So the two of you have a very long history in horror. I'm a fan of some of the work that you guys have done that I've seen, and I wanted to know, how did you guys end up collaborating on this movie?
Rich.
Well, I got hired to take this movie over, and they were letting me sort of redesign the thing from the ground up. And we had a very short window of time to make this movie happen. And so I knew Scout is like 100% solid actress. So she was like one of my favorite people. So I called Scout, and she was in England at the time. And she flew straight from England to South Carolina to make this movie with me. So
yeah, that's how you can tell you enjoy working with a director. If you fly, you don't go home to prep, you go straight from the UK to the set to just film.
Right.
Yeah, there's just like an understanding with Rich and I when it comes to filming. So I just know that it's going to be fun and it's going to be easy, or at least, like I said, it's going to be fun.
Nice. So how have you guys how have you both been doing since the pandemic?
Doing good. I mean, trying to get back in the groove of things, especially as an actor. I mean, luckily, honestly, I don't know what was happening, but as soon as the pandemic hit, that's when I started working. Like this is the first month I've had off since the pandemic. I've been like back to back. So I've been lucky enough to not, during that time got COVID, but right when I stopped working is when I got it. So I'm recovering from that right now.
Okay. Oh, wow. Get better soon.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say the pandemic did definitely slow down finishing this movie. I mean, because my editor Jay Gartland and I couldn't, work face to face for a long while, because of lockdowns and all that stuff. And, just coordinating everything and all that it made everything, it was like kind of, it made everything really slow. So it kind of dragged the process out a little bit, but it's done. And, I'm happy with the final movie. So.
Okay. Nice. Thank you. That was going to be my next question, actually. And yes, your performance and Nolan's performance, your performance, Scout, and Nolan's, it was so good. The entire movie, I was really impressed with how much you guys were able to pull out of just this single set, pretty much. And I wanted to know what was the process of getting all of the special effects together and getting all of that together, like because it's a low budget movie, correct? Yeah. And so like the special effects, I was like, this is on par with some of the bigger horror movies that I've seen, some of the best horror movies. So I really wanted to know the process in that.
Well, when you make horror films, you get used to working with kind of smaller budgets, and so you prepare as much as possible, and then you also look at what you have and you figure out the best way to kind of use these resources, and then shape that into your story so that you can just maximize everything, maximize your production value. If you work with great actors like Scout and Nolan, you get great performances, better than a movie of this budget deserves. So that's, that it's really just about trying to be smart with what you have.
Yeah. And I also think that there's, especially with this genre, that I find when I work with my crew, all of the people that are doing this genre are fans of it. So they put like they go above and beyond. Every crew member, when I enter this kind of filmmaking, they're a fan first. So they obviously want it to look great. So everyone's just like doing way more, with such little that they have.
Yeah. And I think that it also helps. We try to sort of foster a very kind of like a family vibe on set where it's like there's not a lot of this like don't look at me, don't talk to the talent, don't talk to the. I mean, it's just like everybody is friends with everybody, and so you look forward to coming to set, and everybody looks forward to working together. You know, that helps.
Yeah. I think you can really see that in the production and everything with the movie. And I wanted to know, Scout, how was it for you to get into this role? Because there are some very intense scenes.
Yeah, it's so strange because I wish I could give you an answer of like it's really tough and I have to, go through all this emotional stuff. But I've said this so many times, it's a release that I let go also in my real world when I do acting. It's just all this jumbled up stuff that I'm going on in my life that I just kind of need to release. And that's what, filmmaking is for me. I'm kind of using it as therapy, if you will. So, and working with Nolan, there's just like so much to pull off of him. So I don't really have to do much when working with him.
Right. And I don't want to, do spoilers with it. But I was really impressed with the reveal. I mean, that was kind of classic. And so I wanted to know what was it like doing that scene?
Like you mean at the final, the kind of end of the movie?
Yes, when it shows you like what the cult deal is all about.
Yeah. Well, that was an intense day that we actually shot almost all of that scene in one day, and it was our last day of shooting. And so what normally a shooting day is about like 12 hours, from start to finish, and we ended up going 18, 19 hours. It was just because we had so much to shoot and not enough time. And so it was intense. Everybody was a trooper and they really hung in there. But man, I mean, by the end, we all basically were just ready to collapse. So the intensity of that scene is kind of mirrored behind the camera of everybody just struggling to finish this day,
Yeah. I mean, the sun came up and we were still filming, trying to make it look like night. It was definitely very brutal last day. So it was kind of, it showed the end of the movie in all of us behind the camera for sure.
Yeah. If we had turned the camera around on the crew, it would have been scarier than what was going on in front of it.
Nice. I really enjoyed that. And with Deborah, she is also legendary as well. Especially like within horror and things like that. So what was it like getting her on the project and working with her?
Well, Deborah was awesome in that, like, I was a big fan because one of my favorite David Cronenberg movies is Crash, and she is the female, the lead actress in that film. And I mean, she is it's a very weird movie, but I've always loved it. And so when they presented her as an option, I was like, "Oh, do you think she'll do it?" And she actually came out early and worked on the script with us, to kind of go through it over and over again. And I even put her in touch with the writer, Rob Shep, so he could kind of go through her lines with her, make sure everything made sense to her. And she was very intense on set. It was a great experience.
Nice. And I love like Silent Hill is one of my favorites, but with you, Scout, sorry. What was it like working on some of these scenes, like with Nolan, like when you got injured, you have to kind of fake this injury and go through all of that. What was that like for you?
When I do these films, I always know that there's going to be some sort of physical ness to it, if you will. And Nolan and I are very, very close friends. So there is a lot, like I've explained with Nolan, he's kind of like my rock. And the character of Jack is kind of like Grace's Rock as well. So it kind of just worked. I think our chemistry is just kind of there in real life, and so it just shows on screen. And I'm definitely comfortable with Nolan. So when I have to go through these brutal moments, he's kind of there for me, as is Rich. So like I said, I think at the beginning of this interview, it was kind of like a family. So, you know, if they're hurting, if you're hurting, they're hurting, you know, so it's like everybody's like there for you.
Right, right. And one of the things I wanted to know, and this is actually a two-part question. When I saw the trailer, I was like, oh, this is going to be amazing, like immediately. And I liked the whole supernatural aspect of it. So I wanted to know where the idea came from and what you hope audiences will get from that overall.
Well, you know, it's interesting because, you know, like I said, I came on sort of late in production or in pre-production. They'd actually had a couple of other directors attached, and one of them was a writer that had written the script. And when I got there, a bunch of people had kind of taken a crack at kind of revising the script and all that. So there were all these different versions there. It was all kind of a mess. And you know, I was given these sort of parameters, like this is what we have. This is kind of what the basic idea of the movie is. And they let me like redesign the whole thing. And I hired a friend of mine to rewrite the script, this guy, Rob Shep, who, you know, was working on it, rewriting it as we're shooting the film even, you know, and so, and I would come up with an idea. I would call him. We would have these long talks after a day of shooting, so that we could kind of figure out what we could do with this. And you know, it was a real crazy, adventurous production in that regard. So, but you know, it was cool because the one thing that was great about it was they gave me a lot of freedom. The producers gave me a lot of freedom to kind of redesign this whole thing and come up with all these ideas that just had to sort of fit in a kind of narrative stricture, you know, so.
Okay, nice. And for you, like Scout, what do you hope audiences will get? I mean, of course, you know, you want them to enjoy the film, but is there anything else that you want them to get from the movie?
I mean, honestly, simple put, I just want them to have a good scare.
Yeah.
I just hope they have a good scare and have a good time watching the movie. I mean, that's simply what I do when I do these movies, is I just want it to be scary, and I want, you know, this genre is sometimes hard to please. So, so I just, you know, want them to have a good time watching it.
Sure.
Well, this movie definitely, it delivers. Yeah.
Awesome.
What were you going to say? You're welcome.
Oh no, yeah.
I'm sorry, Rich, were you saying something?
Oh, no, nothing. I was just going to agree with Scout. I mean, it's, you know, horror fans, they're very loyal, but they are very demanding, you know, and so, you know, you just want to give them the best thing you can. So.
Yeah. All right. And was there, we have about a minute left. So was there anything else that you wanted to add about the movie?
Like, look, I just hope people have a good time watching it. I mean, it was a lot of fun to make. Scout's one of my favorite human beings on the planet. So, and Nolan is awesome, and my brothers, and it's just like, it was a real family affair. You know, we had a great time. So hopefully that comes through when you watch the film, that you know.
Yes, I think it definitely does. I had a lot of fun watching it. I was really like on the edge of my seat while I was watching it. I was so into it, and I just wanted to know what was going to happen next. And I would actually love to see a sequel. I would love to see that, you know, more about the cult, more about, you know, what happened after and stuff like that. So yeah.
Thank
and
you.
Also, like, definitely, yeah. So
well, if enough people feel the same way, I'm sure it'll happen. So
that's great. All right. Well, thank you guys so much. It was really great talking to you.
Awesome. Thank you,
it was
Nancy.
a real pleasure. Thank you so
Thank you.
much.